Here's my review on X-Men 97, Episode 5. I mean, this episode is great, like every other episode of the show. I mean, this whole show has been so good so far. And this episode takes place on Genosha, like the mutant island. And it's very interesting just to see, like, this whole, like, subculture of mutants. I thought that's, like, one of the coolest things, like, when I watched the original animated show. But I think it's the emotion of where it's at, like, especially, like, when you're Wolverine, like, you feel so bad for him, like, because he clearly loves Jean, and he just seems like such a lone, he's literally, like, the lone wolf. Like, I mean, he's not really in this show that much, which I like, actually. I like how it's focusing a lot on, like, you get characters like Cyclops and Rogue, Jean Grey. I like how we're getting more of the spotlight of those characters because we got so much Wolverine in the movies. So I'm completely fine with that, but when he is here, he's great. And Nightcrawler's in this episode, and that's really cool. I mean, I really liked him in the original animated series. I thought he was great, and just seeing him back is just so cool. I mean, teleportation powers are awesome. I just love the design of him. He's so cool. He's just a very interesting character. I was glad to see him back in this episode. It's also like these emotional moments also between Gambit and Rogue are very interesting, especially considering what happens later in the episode. Where, I mean, it's so interesting. I mean, like, this relationship between Gambit and Rogue, it feels kind of, not necessarily out of left field. It does feel a little spontaneous, but I think in a good way. And, I mean, every scene with Magneto is just great. The voice acting is incredible. He's such an interesting character. And I thought it was great here, like, when they're fighting these Sentinels and all these overpowered characters. It's just awesome. But I mean, the biggest reveal of this episode was Gambit's death. I mean, Gambit is a character I really liked in the original show, and I didn't expect him to die, and I really liked him in this show, and I'm glad that they did kill him off because it just shows the real stakes of this show and what it's willing to go through. And I think there's just this great emotional scene at the end with Rogue, like, holding Gambit's dead body and just crying. I thought it was done beautifully. And I think this show just does emotion so well. So yeah, this was another fantastic episode. I don't really have any major complaints. I thought it was great.